Hello, BookTube. Well, we're back. A warm day. Your first warm day here.
Yeah.
The temperature went up. It's now only about, I would estimate, 25 degrees cooler than I would find actually comfortable. but it's perfectly fine for everybody else. And we had another place to go. We went book hunting at a Goodwill, a big Goodwill that has corporate headquarters relatively close to Hyde Cottage. A 20-minute drive,
Yeah,
would you say?
about that.
Relatively close. It's a wonderful Goodwill. I've been there with David Murphy. It's big. It's well lit. It's got tons and tons and tons of stuff. And it's got an ancillary destination. There's a warehouse right next door where the stock is for sale, but since it's not sorted, it's just in gigantic piles that you're supposed to rummage through like a rabid baboon. It's cheaper. So we went to both places.
Yep.
And we got a ton of books. Or rather, I did.
He did, yeah.
If you looked at our book hauls and tried to guess who is driving a car back to Ohio, it would be me, not him. I don't know what. Well, you always say in your video that you just don't have room for any more books.
Yeah, and this was a very sort of combative, elbows out kind of book haul experience, and I was not ready for that.
Yeah. The warehouse is not genteel.
No.
But it can be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, well, like you said, I'm going to have to do a lot more books than you are at a time.
Yeah.
Although, the first thing that I want to show you, the delight of my day, is not a book at all. I was rummaging through. In the warehouse, they have canvas tubs just piled with books. And if you want to look at them, you have to burrow through them. You have to shift books aside, throw them to another tub, maybe stack them on the floor. And I started doing that and came across this. I came across what did you say it was?
Fourth generation.
A fourth generation Kindle. No touchscreen.
Nope.
All navigating by the controls at the bottom there with the page turn buttons on the side. With this mottling on the back. It's been through hell and gone. And I put it in my armload of books just for the hell of it. I was halfway thinking that whatever drone was at the counter would say, it isn't a book, so I can't sell it to you, or whatnot. It had no power. It just had the symbol saying, charge me. And so I brought that with all the other books over to the counter. I didn't. He carried them over there. I'm just here for my looks. I don't do any heavy lifting. But we brought them over there, and I said to the guy, I'll take a chance that it works if you'll sell it to me. And he did, for $1. He charged me $1 for it. And my reasoning was that Kindles are so tough and so simple that the odds were good that it would work. And it does. It took a charge right away. It charged to full capacity. The only problem is it's so old it can't connect to my Amazon account, which is where all my books are. Ordinarily when I get a new Kindle and I log on to my account, the books start populating on the Kindle. But this doesn't do that. And the MacBook that I'm filming this on is one of those really sleek minimalist MacBooks, and it has 2 power outlets, both USB-C, and no other power outlets at all. So there's no way to connect this to my laptop to transfer books directly. But he's working on a solution.
Yes.
And it is
get
working.
Some adapters and
It is working. There is. Let me show you. You powered on at the bottom there like that. Even in the 4th generation of Kindle, 100 years ago, power button is still in exactly the wrong place. And then, see, Christopher put a volume of Will Durant on the thing. And it works. I can read on it. So that was my first thing. The first thing that I found was a Kindle for $1. An ancient Kindle. I've never used one of these before. But I should go on.
Yes.
I found a Fall River remainder of the Iliad and the Odyssey. I've never seen this edition before. I'm assuming it's Samuel Butler. Are you not
Michael
even
Dearda introduction? That's pretty cool.
Are you not even going to mention who the translation is by? It's got to be Butler. These remainders always are. Yeah, Samuel Butler.
Okay.
I have the Samuel Butler in e-copies, but he's largely indefensible. Butler and Butcher and Lang are largely indefensible. And when I hear something described as largely indefensible, I want to defend it. So I read the Iliad every June. I'm embroiled right now in reading the Iliad, but I'm not reading the Butler translation, and I'm thinking about changing that and making this my Iliad for the rest of the month. I don't want to put these on the Kindle because it's tough, but it might. Oh, all right. I found a trade paperback of Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. I found Rules of Civility yesterday, and this was a terrific book. Really different from anything that he's done. I just realized that I might be blurbed in here. Am I blurbed in here? That would be so nice. No. Oh, well. I really enjoyed this, so I was happy to get the trade paperback. I found, what is this? Gollancz? Orion Books? Yeah, it's Gollancz. They did a series of science fiction classics, and I found Cities in Flight by James Blish with these rounded covers, the rounded edges there on the cover, and the longitudinal stuff on the back.
That's really cool.
And this is an ongoing project. Several of you over the years have expressed disappointment with me because I don't like James Blish very much. Some of you have said you owe him your loyalty because of his Star Trek adaptations from 70 years ago. Cities in Flight and A Case of Conscience, these are the Blish novels to read. I saw it. It was dirt cheap, so I grabbed it in a format that I think is interesting, so I'll give it another try. Just let me know when I should stop.
Okay, all right.
I listened to the former Sports Center Ted Baxter type bloviator Keith Olbermann. I listened to his podcast, and often he's very annoying. Often he's very irritating. Sometimes he can be very touching. He is a wonderful, wonderful raconteur about dogs. He came to the love of dogs very, very late in life, and is a wonderful describer of what that's like. And another constant tick of his is his love of James Thurber, who I can't stand. And I guess maybe that was in the back of my mind because I found a copy of The Years with Ross. Here, Ross being the creator of The New Yorker. And this is James Thurber's account of those years. I read this a long, long time ago, and it irritated the pants off me with how self-aggrandizing Thurber is, with how every anecdote manages to make him look like the risen Christ. And it's been a long, long time, so I will give it another try. It's a classic New Yorker book, and I love those, so I'll give it another try with a little doff of the hat to Keith Olbermann. How about one or two more?
Yes,
all right.
Please.
I found a UK trade paperback of The Magician by Colm Tobin. I have never really liked this author all that much, but this is about Henry James, mostly in Venice. And it's a UK trade paperback, so I will give it another try. This doesn't have any Americans. Oh, no, it does. Even the Christian Science Monitor, but not me. Heller McAlpin. And Jay Perini did it for the New York Times. And the Wall Street Journal called it sublime, but that can't be my Wall Street Journal. Or maybe it can. Denny Drabell reviewed it for the Washington Post. Good. Well, anyway, all right, this has reviews all over it.
Yeah,
Good
wow.
Lord. I will give this another try. Clearly, I'm in the minority here. And then I found a trade paperback of Catalina's Riddle by Stephen Saylor. This is a Gordianus the Finder murder mystery, but it's mostly just a very good, very textured dramatization of the Catalan Rebellion that dares to make Cataline into a semi-sympathetic figure. And I grabbed this because it was dirt cheap. I'm not 100% remembering if I have a hardcover of this. I'll have to check the little book room. If I do, then I don't need this. But I wasn't about to pass it up on a memory fog. And you got some books.
Yeah, I got a Penguin Classic of Jack Kerouac on the Road. I know, I've never read it before, and really I don't have much interest, but it was a Penguin Classic for $1, and that's enough of an incentive for me to at least try it. So,
yeah.
And I'll make a video saying I love it, too. So.
Kerouac had no discernible talent as an author,
but
at least he never grew a mustache.
Ever?
Never.
Ever? You never even tried it?
He did for a few years until he sat in that chair. And I said, good-looking young men should never wear facial hair. And he went, oh, crap. As the good-looking young sitting in that chair tend to do. Do I go ahead?
Yes, please. I'll just go one book at a time.
Well, one of these things is going to be easy to do a lot of because I found almost a complete set. I found Penn Classic, Wings of the Dove. No, always up for Henry James. I found Modern Library of Howard's End by E.M. Forster. Never read the notes on this. Never read the introduction. I love the book. Although it's another one of those trip up things in literature. You can look for those trip-up things to know whether or not you're reading a periodical that has a strong copy editing desk, and also, if you're reading a Substack or a blog, whether or not you're reading a faker or the real thing. Because a bad copy editing desk or a faker will put an apostrophe in there. And it doesn't belong there anymore, that does in Finnegan's Wake. So you look for something like that. You look for Edgar Allan Poe being spelled A-L-L-E-N. You look for things like that to see if maybe... the person's just not on the ball. Should I keep going, or do you?
I have this in my hand. This is Murder at the Gardener. I got it because I really don't know anything about it, but it said when I saw that it was Gardner, I was like, is that the Isabella
Yes,
Stewart
it
Gardner?
is. These are all New England-based murder mysteries. Homer Kelly and his wife are the sleuthing team. His wife is very smart and very sharp and very energetic. But he is the lead hero in the book, and he is not any of those things. And all of these Homer Kelly things are illustrated by the author quite lovely.
They're very nice.
They're very, very nice.
They're very nice.
They're not photorealistic, but they are wonderful.
They're like little sketches that are like really, really cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I can go through an enormous number of mine all at once because I found one author. I found an enormous amount of one author. But believe it or not, I did not find all of it. Some of you are going to cheer, because some of you are even bigger fans of this author than I am. Is that all of them? Yeah, I've suddenly narrowed the gap here quite a bit.
Okay.
The author is Dorothy Dunnett. And when I was digging through the first of the canvas tubs in the warehouse, I saw 2 trade paperbacks of Dorothy Dunnett. She wrote 2 long historical novel sequences. Any of you who know her are cheering right now because she's great. She's absolutely great. The people who work their way through the Lyman Chronicles or the Niccolo books love them. I saw those 2, and I was off my game for the warehouse. I only go when somebody brings me in a car. Now I don't go on my own. And I kept tossing. I saw them and kept tossing. And I shouldn't have, because they get buried. If you toss something and then all sorts of other stuff gets tossed, and suddenly it's not accessible unless you excavate that tub again. And then I moved on to the next tub, and all the rest of Dorothy Dunnett was there. So I'm now missing 2 volumes. The 2 that I buried, the 2 that I tossed. So they're all in these trade paperbacks. Somebody dumped the whole thing at the Goodwill. So you have, oh my God. You have Checkmate, you have Scales of Gold, you have The Ringed Castle, and I know at least one person's watching this video is wondering, well, what about the book that isn't part of either one of those series, that is arguably the best thing she ever wrote? Yep, I found that too. But first, Race of Scorpions, The Unicorn Hunt, all of these just sitting there, except for the 2 that I didn't get. Pawn and Frankincense. I was so happy when all of these were reissued. We have The Disorderly Knights. So I believe I have the first one in each series, and then we move on from there. Queen's Play. I didn't bother to separate them into Niccolo and Lyman Chronicles. The Game of Kings. This is the first Lyman Chronicle book, and I think we've already seen Niccolo Rising. I don't remember if we have or not. This is The Spring of the Ram. There's Florence on the cover there. There's a fantastic Renaissance historical fiction. Not as good as The Agony and the Ecstasy, but still really, really good.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, Niccolo Rising. There's the first one. So I have the first one of both of these, and then I don't know how far they go in. To Lie with Lions. I haven't read some of these later Niccolo books in so long. Gemini, which is the 8th book in the series. And, yes, indeed, King Hereafter. a standalone historical novel that is so good. Oh my, it is so good. All of these things, and yet this is the one I'm tempted to do tonight, even though I've read it before. So I almost all of Dorothy Dunnet, lacking only two things. Very frustrating.
I just got a popular novel. I don't know anything about it. This is Memoirs of a Geisha, Arthur Golden. I mean, for $1, I thought I'd try it. I saw it everywhere when it came out, and I don't know. It seemed kind of interesting.
Well, you can tell right away what I say all the time on when we do book hauls with anybody here is that when we get to a place with a lot of books, I leave. I split onto my own and do shopping on my own. And you can definitely tell that he was shopping unsupervised with On the Road and Memoirs of a Geisha.
I know. Should I redeem myself or something? I feel like this...
I'm assuming that John Green is in that pile somewhere.
This is good. This is an Oxford World Classic of Thomas Carlyle's Past and Present. This is my favorite thing that I got on this
I didn't see that
particular haul. Yeah, so I was happy because I need one good book to bank on, so I got that.
I found a trade paperback of The Enchantress of Florence, Salman Rushdie, that I really, really like. It's probably my favorite Rushdie novel. Probably it is. And I don't think I ever wrote about this. Even for the National, I don't think I did. Did anybody that I know? Oh, yeah, a couple of people that I know did. All right, well, this is loaded with blurbs as well. Christopher Hitchens, Michael Durda, Ursula Le Guin. Not bad company to keep. But I didn't get it for the blurbs. I don't blurb hunt when I'm shopping. Go ahead, do another one. I've got very few left here.
I've got 3 left.
Oh, you do? Oh,
yeah.
All right. I found Jan Morris's book on Oxford. Classic travel writing. I think the guts of this, or maybe all of it, is in a big volume of the collected travel writing. No, this is a whole book. One of you sent me The World by Jan Morris, which is a collection of her travel writing. And this is a whole book, like her book on Venice. So those aren't in there. And I love her travel writing. So I found another Henry James, another classic, The Bostonians. Don't know whether I have this or not, but these were dirt cheap. They were right there, so I... This is the Community Bookstore in Park Slope. Still in business? They don't want Steve. I can tell just from the title that they don't want Steve in the room. But you don't have to tell them. And then another classic. Yes, I found a Penguin classic with a picture of Dorian Gray. I don't think I have this, and it was right there. And when you're digging through the bins like that, I always think that it's a lot like the Brattle. When I go to the Brattle sale lot, sometimes I will seed the sale lot. So I'll go through one cart and I'm not seeing anything that I really like, but I'll grab a couple of books to grease the wheels, to prime the pump, as the economists say. And that high-pitched wail you hear from the upper Midwest, I think we all know where it comes from. Should I keep going? No, we've got 3 each.
Okay, so I've got some Emil Durkheim. I've read some Durkheim before. I found him to be really, really boring, but this is the division of labor in society. Maybe I just haven't gotten it yet. I don't know, but I got this for $1, so I thought it was a pretty cool find.
I found a hardcover. Cold. Ooh, this is filthy. Well, we've been cleaning stuff up all afternoon. I can clean this up. I've got all the tools I need. This is by Bill Streever, and it is Adventures in the World's Frozen Places. And there on the cover, you have a carnivore who has 7-inch claws and weighs a ton. So if you want to escape, you had better run in the other direction. Oh, no. 45 miles an hour for an hour. Okay, well, then maybe you can swim. No, they're more aquatic than whales. And their senses are better underwater than whales. So it's like I've quoted on this channel before, the little rubric for hikers of all kinds. If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, what is it? If it's brown, lay down. And if it's white, good night. Because it's not going to, a polar bear is not going to be fooled by you playing dead, and you can't outrun it, you can't outfight it, you almost can't hurt it with a rifle. So, but I don't think I've ever read this. Have I? No? Oh my God. While the author's asking for trouble, he's fraternizing with the enemy. Probably right behind him is a 2-ton mother. No, I don't think I've ever read this. I'm going to throw it over there to clean.
I got something. I've never heard of this before, but it seemed cool. This is Nothing is True and Everything is Possible. The subtitle is The Surreal Heart of New Russia, and I do love reading about Russia. Seemed pretty cool. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Peter Palmer.
Look at the babies.
There's a lot of babies.
Ooh.
It does have a
Multicolored borzoi.
Yeah.
Instead of all white. Oh, how lovely. Ooh. Okay, one thing that happens when you are flying through the tubs and you are throwing books one way or another is that the person you're with might make a snap judgment about a book that differs from your own snap judgment. So they might throw something in front of you that you want, and that happened here. Christopher tossed this from his tub to my tub, and I want this. So I grabbed it. This is an amazing story. Really, this is for architects to think about. Because a group of people survived in a stairwell when every law of physics and architecture says they should not have survived, but they did. So literally the whole world feels like it's ending. The dust clears, and in this bottom stairwell, they are suddenly surrounded by sunlight because the entire building above them has fallen down. This is a really good 9/11 book, so I was happy to pick up your rejects.
And then we have SPQR by Mary Beard. I've never read it before, and I just have not.
That must be blurbed like crazy.
Oh yeah, several on the back here. Let's see if there's.
Ooh, Ferdinand Mount on the cover, formerly of the TLS. He can do no wrong.
Yeah, there he is. Michael Dirda. Emily Wilson. Yeah, a bunch of people. But obviously, it's worth having for $1. So there you go.
And then, I've got two more. I found a mass market, one of these prestige paperbacks of a Reacher novel with Alan Ritchson on the cover, with the artwork from the TV show. I've never seen one of these before. I'm pretty sure that he started coming into bookstores, these TV show covers, after I stopped working in a bookstore, and maybe even after the only retail bookstore in Boston that would have a Reacher novel closed. There is a retail bookstore in Boston, right down the street from the State House, that not only doesn't stock Reacher, but will quietly hit an alarm button under the counter if you ask for Reacher. So I don't think I've ever seen one of these things before, and it was right there, and I figured, why not? And then finally, a kid's book, Owl Moon, which I've walked you through before on this channel. It is a kid's book about a child and a parent who go out trekking into the woods. They are looking for an owl. They stop every once in a while. It's bitterly cold. They stop every once in a while and call, but they're not seeing anything. They're just happy to be out in the woods together. The father is talking about what owls are like, and they call some more. And you see the light is changing and night is falling. They're pretty sure that it's a wasted trip. When all of a sudden, they both more feel than see a rustle from somewhere, and it's an owl gliding through the nighttime forest air on no noise at all. And when it stops and looks at them in the light of the flashlight, it's staring right at them. And that is the way of owling, believe it or not. I know I mock birders all the time here, but there was a decade where I was a dedicated owler, which is a very different kind of bird hunting to do. It's much harder to do. First of all, because owls tend to be out at hours when you want to be home reading. And second, because the ending of this book is entirely true. You will never spot an owl before it spots you. It will be looking at you when you finally do see it. I did that for years, including in an old Victorian cemetery just up the hill from here. It's just gorgeous. Some of you, I've actually toured through it back when you could take dogs in there. And there are great horned owls that live in there. And one night, I put the girls to bed, and I crept out of the apartment. I went up there so that I could be there in the 3 hours before dawn. It was slushy, and it was sleety, and it was miserable. And the exact same thing happened to me. I was just about ready to give up when I realized I was being watched, that I was being looked at by the very thing I'd gone looking for. So I couldn't remember off the top of my head if I have this, so I grabbed it for $1. And there you go. So a bunch of books and a Kindle.
Yes,
Do any of you
yeah.
have this old Kindle? Do any of you have this? Can you tell me about... like, the main thing I'm interested in is not do you have this in a kitchen somewhere. The main thing I want to know is there anybody watching this video who not only has this thing but still uses it as your default reader? I would love to know that. The impression I get from you is that this will put up a lot of roadblocks to that.
Yeah.
You have to sideload your books. You
Yeah.
can't do anything else with it. And it's not touchscreen at all.
Yeah.
You need to use the navigation tool to move around.
Yeah.
But it still works to read a book. In fact, it works better than a lot of modern Kindles because it's got the page turn buttons. So do any of you use this still? Is this the default Kindle of anybody who's listening to me? I would love to know that.
That would be really interesting.
But there you go. So that's an old Kindle. In case one of you has it, you're cheering. And Dorothy done it. And I know that's causing some people to cheer. Minus only 2 books. I will separate when we turn off the camera. I will separate these out into the 2 separate series and see how many of them I have. I'm missing. It'd be neat if I was missing one from each one. They do show up at the Brattle sometimes. So, but anyway, it was a successful day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The outlet wasn't nearly as seedy as it could have been.
It was pretty seedy.
It was pretty seedy, but it could have been worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we could have made it worse. What if we shopped for shoes?
Oh my god.
There was a canvas tub full of shoes.
Oh no.
I heard a rumor. The outlet is really seedy. It's really, really disgusting. You look at it and think, surely I can wait. I'm okay with the markup if for things to be neat and organized right next door. But I used to go there a lot, and I heard a rumor once from one of the security guards who was working there. This was a long time ago. Who told me, and I don't know if he was just having me on, that one time when they wheel out the tubs, we were there when they wheeled out a tub of new books.
Yeah.
They had a plastic pair of boots right on top because nothing is really strictly organized. But when they wheel out a tub of shoes, nominally human beings descend on it and are just savagely snatching things from each other. Shoes, I guess, create that kind of mania. And a security guard told me once that one time they had to shut down the building for the day because one of the shoes had a foot in it. And I don't know if he was in any other circumstance, I would assume he was pulling my leg. But you've seen the place.
I have. I could believe it. I could believe it. You walk through this hole.
I tried to describe it to him ahead of time.
It's impossible. It's oh my god. You're entering the 9th circle. It's just,
and you know, the horrifying thing about, especially the people there who buy shoes, is that if that story is true, I guarantee you the person who found the shoe with the foot in it still wanted the shoe. I guarantee that. But it was a fun time.
Yeah.
And we came back. Frida was here alone for only a little while this time, not a long time. So we're going to clean these things up and look at tech and have a fun evening. But we'll be back. So we'll see you then. Thank you, Book 2.